Hi Year 6, this is Thursday's maths lesson, Thursday the 14th of January, and we're following on from yesterday's lesson where we're thinking about equivalent fractions. So the wonderful Mrs Stubbs is going to give us some more guidance when we're thinking about equivalent fractions, and then there will be an activity in the description when I upload the video, so always look in the description because there'll be a link to an activity that you can do online as well as the work that you'll hopefully do in your books as well. So let's have a look what Mrs Stubbs has got here for us.
Okay, so we're just really following on from the end of yesterday's lesson. Now, I said yesterday that obviously it's really great if you've got equipment or a paper copy of a fraction wall where you can actually see or you can handle the plastic bars here. It is much easier to see equivalent fractions. So I'll just pick one here. We've got a third. And hopefully by now you know that this word equivalent means equal. We can see quite easily that a third is equal to 2/6. There we are, they're exactly the same size. So the fraction's written differently, but they are equal fractions, equivalent. But sometimes it is possible to work out or to calculate equivalent fractions without having this equipment here. And I talked about this a little bit at the end of yesterday's lesson. So I'll go to my old favourite, a half. Here we are, a half here. And I'm sure you all know it's equivalent to 2/4. Here we are, a half. And we've got the 2/4. They're the same size. But I said at the end of yesterday's lesson, perhaps you might notice sort of a relationship between the numerator and the denominator in this fraction and the numerator and the denominator in this fraction. And if I have a little look, and again, times tables, just so useful here. Okay, if you have a little look here, think, well, what's happened to that one? Well, it's been multiplied by 2. Has the same thing happened here? Yes, it has. The 2 has been multiplied by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Because I've done the same thing to the numerator and the denominator, my fractions stay an equal size. Let's see if the same rule works for this one. Let's have a little look. Here we are. What's happened here? 1 times something is 3. Oh, it's been multiplied by 3. Let's have a look. Yep, 2 times 3 is 6. Equivalent fractions. A half is equivalent to 3/6. And again, you would be able to see that quite easily on the fractions wall, but you don't always have one. Okay, now let's see here. I've now got to work out the numerator, the missing numerator here. Let's have a little look. Well, I know these two, so let's see what has happened. What's that 2 been multiplied by to get to 10? Well, I'm sure you know. Here we are. 2 times 5 is 10. So because I've done that to my denominator, I need to do exactly the same to the top, to the numerator. 1 times 5 is 5. So you've just got to remember, whatever you do to either your numerator, you've got to do the same to your denominator. And if you multiply them by the same number, you will end up with a pair of equivalent fractions. We can see this one again. Here we are. That one has been timesed by 2. Here we go. Yeah, obviously 1 times 2 is 2. Just do one more with you. You could have a little go at these other ones on the board. So let's have a little look here. 4 times 3 is 12. So because I've multiplied by 3 here, I must do the same up here. 1 times 3 is 3. 1/4 is the same as 3/12. So I'm just going to actually prove that. Here we are. Here's my quarter. Oops. Here's my 3/12. Just to show you visually, 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. So you could have a little go at these ones that I've written here. See if you can work out either the missing numerator or here the missing denominator. And then I've got a few more for you to have a go at. I've tried writing them in black pen this time because I noticed on some of the videos it wasn't really very clear in pencil. So hopefully you can see that clearly. So I've got a half is equivalent to how many eighths? And 2/5. How many tenths would that be? So I won't read through all of them. You can hopefully freeze the screen and have a little look at that. Now I know some of you had a go at that yesterday, and that's fantastic if you did. We're going to just have another quick look at another way of writing an equivalent fraction, which involves you doing something called simplifying. You may hear it as reducing or cancelling down. I know when I was at school it was called cancelling down. Or maybe writing a fraction in its lowest terms or its simplest form. Okay, so if I have a little look here, just try and think of some examples. Let's have a little look. I could have, let me just think, 2/4. I know this is a very, very simple one. Now, if I want to write this in its simplest form or to reduce it, instead of multiplying the numerator and the denominator, I do the inverse. I have to divide. Now, sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. Let's have a look. 2 and 4. Now, I think, do I recognise those from a times table that I know? Well, hopefully, you will know straight away that they are both in the 2 times table. Okay, so I can divide that by 2, and I can divide this by 2. Again, I have to do the same to the numerator and the denominator. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So again, I know you knew that 2/4 is the same as 1/2. Now I have got some written down here we could have a little go at actually. So again, you're trying to, again, using your times tables, right? Using your times tables. Let's have a little look. I've got 6/10. Now, do you recognise that from any of your times tables? Well, hopefully you know that both those numbers are multiples of 2 again. So I'm going to divide the top by 2, and I'm going to divide the bottom by 2, and my new fraction, well, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 6/10 is equivalent to 3/5, and you've simplified that fraction. It's always worth having just to see, can I do any more? Can I simplify that any further? Can I cancel it down? Have I written that in its lowest terms or its simplest form? I'll just pick another one. Let's have a little look at this one. We've got 8/16. Now you might think, oh, I know, they're both multiples of 2. I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. Here we go. So just put that in there. I've got to do the same. So I'm going to divide by 2, and I'm going to divide by 2. 8 divided by 2, 4. 16 divided by 2, 8. Now, you could leave it like that. You have simplified it but you haven't written it in its simplest form or its lowest terms. Look at that. Again, they're both multiples of 2, so I can divide again. Okay, just going to do that quickly. So I'm dividing by 2, dividing by 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Oh my goodness, I can do it again. So you could keep going, which is, drags the process out a little bit. It's much better if you really do know your tables very well. Here we are, see, I'm ending up with a half. Now, most of you, I'm sure, would you look at that and you just say, oh yeah, they're both multiples of 8. They're both in the 8 times table. Straight away, I could have done, I'll just do it in a different colour so it's not too confusing, 8/16. If you know straight away that they are both multiples of 8, I'm going to divide the top by 8 and the bottom by 8. Here we are, 8 divided by 8, 1, 16 divided by 8, 2, easy peasy. Much easier, really. If you can manage to do it in one step, that's fantastic. But it doesn't matter if you do it gradually in different steps. So this is another way of writing equivalent fractions. It's called simplifying. I say you may see it as reducing, cancelling down, writing in their lowest term, simplest form. I think I've probably covered most of the names for it. So I'd like you, if you did the other equivalents yesterday, you could carry on, and these are the books that we sometimes use in school. Perhaps you could have a little go, if you're used to these books, maybe at having a look at B and C, where you need to cancel down each fraction and write it in its simplest form or its lowest form. So if you freeze the screen, you could have a go at some of those.
Wow, there's a really big challenge there, Year 6. Good luck. And please send in all of your work that you've done. Remember, the last part of the video is a special challenge. Okay, good luck.